Yeah. The JR in the background. So you know what we doing right now, folks. We watching AEW Dynamite. But so I just saw like on the intro when they were announcing people coming in, one of the matches at All Out is QT Marshall versus the Big Show.
Hmm.
Paul White, but the Big Show. Come on. Vince called you big. I'm gonna call you big. Um anyway, I saw that and I was like, all right, AEW, don't make the same mistake TNA made. Do not bet on these old dudes when you got some good young dudes there.
Hmm.
Because I mean, clearly the Paul White match is just for people to feel good about Paul White because no disrespect to QT Marshall, but
I'm sorry, bro.
it like for real.
For all the listeners, episode 43, by the way, like just said, we were watching AEW Dynamite, and bruh, this Swanton Bomb by Orange Cassidy with the
With the
hands in
hands
his
in his
pocket.
pockets.
Yo, that's actually more impressive than funny. It's just the fact that he did that. I thought he was going for a leg drop. The
What
fact that he
happened where
did
he's
that.
what happened where he's so bloody?
Oh, you didn't see it?
Nah.
Oh, he got cracked in the nose.
Oh, okay. Oh, so his nose broke.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I saw that broad as daylight. And
Oh man. That man really did a flip with his hands in his pockets. You know how brave you gotta be to do a flip with your hands in your pockets? Just doing a flip in general as an adult is scary.
bruh,
And then
that's what's so hilarious about it. And great at the same time.
dang. All right, Matt, they need to call this match. Matt is about to drown in his own blood.
That and he put too much dip on the chip. He trying to do moves he did 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing we say in the Miz. Go home and be a family man.
Nah, the Miz can stay around a little bit longer. I'm upset about the John Morrison thing. I ain't gonna hold you.
Hey, we got to get Morrison. Wow, that was weird, but I like that. The hands in his
Yeah, to
pockets.
go home. I'm
Yeah,
like, bruh.
he
But the match is
teabagging.
fire.
Yeah, I appreciate AEW for not giving us Matt Hardy matches on pay per view anymore. That's really nice of them. Um, but nah, the main thing I was saying about AEW is just don't make that mistake TNA made. Because TNA bet on these old heads when they had the young bulls right there. Like, and when we talk about the young dudes, we talking about AJ, we talking about Samoa. Like, we ain't talking about just no regular like, oh yeah, they was just okay. Like, bro, they had Okada there, they had the Bucks there. They just didn't invest in the youth. Had they invested in the youth, AEW and NXT was right there.
Hmm.
So that's all. Well, we got Malachi Black talking now. Is he gonna do another promo for Cody? Or
No, doesn't he have that match with what's the name? R. Anderson's son tonight?
oh yeah, our Anderson's son just letting his son get fucked up tonight.
Like father,
Um,
like son. Lil
yep,
Wayne and Birdman.
yep. They got to do the stunt like my daddy album cover.
Then
That
he
should be
called rap
fire.
crap though. Arn Anderson.
They old. They all called rap crap. It was probably a country music. They probably heard Nelly and was like, "Oh yeah, you know, what do you get when you mix rap and country?" That's probably his favorite joke in the world.
Rap
But
crap and country. Yeah. Oh. That
yeah,
was a country song from Country
yeah.
Grammar.
The Country Grammar album is a country music album.
It is. Essentially it is.
It's like we talked about Lil Nas X, but Country Grammar is a country music album. Hell, Nellyville is a country music album. Air Force Ones could be played on the country music channel right now.
Bro, the song started out Nellyville. That said everything. Like the first
Yeah.
song. I can't explain. Hey,
What?
I
Like
feel about Nelly.
he made Air Force Ones, a country did. Just give me two per.
I
I
need.
need to. Garth Brooks could sing that shit right now.
So I,
Can get to stumping in my Air Force Ones.
big boy.
Get stuck like yeah. You telling you telling me Chris Stapleton can't fuck that up?
Chris Christopherson.
Him too. Uh, but
Can
nah.
I talk about your statement? What you're saying, unless you want to elaborate more on it.
No, you go ahead.
I don't think they're going that far because Eric Bischoff isn't here. The Hollywood Blonde Jabroni Hulk Hogan isn't here, so they're not going that far. I think what it is, and I can see it, being a fan in the past month or so. Really, it's more so just, all right, if the old guys want to work, let them work. Are they trying to get certain people over? Yeah, but how far is QT Marshall going to go in the indies, let alone a major promotion? Yeah, AEW's major promotion or a major promotion in this time. This ain't 1985. So I understand what you mean exactly. Like I'm agreeing with you on that. It's just I don't think he gonna be active like that. He probably just get a match offer too, but they not leaning with the old guys because they put too many of the young stars out there.
That's true. That's true. You're right. They have a good set of young dudes. Like I'm just saying, not that they're going to do it. I'm just saying I hope they don't make that mistake. Like there's nothing in the guards. Like they just had an MJF beat Chris Jericho last week, which I thought they would tease that out to all out. So I'm
Mhm.
good with that. They had Moxley like get his ass whooped just to put over like at the beginning of that match for them. Who are those 2.0 dudes? Like I have no idea who they are. But apparently, AEW thinks very highly of them if their first like big match is, hey, you're gonna take on Sting and Darby Allin in a tornado match, but you're also going to beat up John Moxley and Eddie Kingston right before you go out there. So you're gonna beat up four of the biggest names they got.
Yeah, I
So the
honestly
two
couldn't tell you because they signed so many tag teams, which isn't a bad thing. They signed so many tag teams, and I'm like, who are these niggas?
40, yeah, Tommy Davidson all the time. So Chris Jericho
Because
just
when
decided to be J. Cole and wear the Jordan ones all the time now, right?
he's been wearing Jordans,
He been wearing Jordan ones that when he don't wrestle, he be wearing Jordan ones now like he's Shane McMahon.
I never noticed that ever. I never look at his feet because I automatically assume he wearing cowboy boots.
Nah, he been kicking it with the Bucks too long.
But Jericho's are real
Yeah,
because he ain't worried about the money, and his kids is damn near grown. So it's like, all right, I ain't worried about the bread. I've been
and
working with 30 years now. It'll be 30 years next year.
he gonna like transition right into a commentator job. Like there's no way you telling me if he goes to be a commentator and a free agent, WWE don't try and poach him to be a commentator.
I think so. That's why they let him come on the program, and they just, in general, don't give a fuck. But I think for the most part, it's always an end game to the things that they do. Obviously, when we get to SummerSlam, we'll kind of talk about it. Even though I feel like some things are made on the fly that they don't really care about, but some things they actually plan 20 steps ahead. So with him being on the Stone Cold sessions or whatever it's called, it's more so a long term game. Like, hey pal, you can go back if you want, but it's not happening now. But maybe it might happen in the future. Do you have him on commentary in the future? Depending on what you want to do. I think right now they are to sell the company, which it seems to be the case, and everybody has been saying that for about a year now. I don't know if you could bring him on, even though he has cooled off on his views of everything related that right wing bullshit.
Hey man, people can cook and be conservative. Nobody's losing any bread. They pretend like that, but nobody losing no bread.
No, and I don't think they particularly care. It's just when you say it open. I mean, obviously, once again, when we get to SummerSlam, it'll be based on somebody who was outed via social media because people don't understand that you don't have to like things. And it's starting to look like maybe it's true based on what she was liking a couple of months ago that it dignifies the situation as to what just happened. So, yeah, it's just when you two out there, then it becomes a problem. For the most part, everybody like the carrying crosses and all that, they views have been said. I forgot Shorty that's tag champions with Io Shirai, but
Oh yeah, Zoe, whatever.
yeah, and then the Raquel Gonzalez pressure. With them, it's kind of like they've said stuff, but it's not like it just slipped because they put it on social media. Everybody, for the most part, slips on social media, but it hasn't been loud. Like they haven't said it too loud and responded to people. So, and it's NXT workers too, so Vince don't give a damn. But with Chris Jericho, more than likely a top five worker of all time, it's kind of like even at this age, you can't just say that.
I feel you. Uh, I will say before we get too far, there was a dude in the front of the crowd. He had a sign out that said "Save Wrestling, Get Vaxxed." And shout out to him for being bold enough to do that in the front row and bold enough to do that right when Jericho is out there.
He did that on purpose. I respect the shooters, and besides that, he's in Milwaukee, so to do it out there, of all places, that's even better.
Yeah,
Because if anybody knows anything about Milwaukee, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Um. Anyway, so yeah, nah, just the Jericho stuff. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I think he's gonna probably have one more year in him at most. But
as far as wrestling,
yeah, yeah, I think he got a
I
year.
think he can actually go longer.
Nah, I think he's more. If he's gonna go longer, they gotta let him know, like, yeah, what you did for MJF, what you did for Orange Cassidy, that's your future. You're not gonna win no
Just
more
putting the young guys
titles.
over.
Yeah, you're not winning no more titles. You'll still be a big deal. You'll still be in big programs. You still a name. We still let you come and talk, but all that title winning is quiet for that. But
No, I mean, this does pose another question in my mind. Do titles actually matter anymore?
that's a great question. And here's how I answer. I've been thinking about this a lot. Do you remember at about the year 2007, 2008, or like 2009 or so, fighting Floyd Mayweather? Floyd Mayweather got the A corner. Floyd Mayweather got the big payday. Floyd Mayweather got all the press, and he wasn't even the champion in some of these fights he was fighting in. Like he was going in with no belt. At that point, Floyd Mayweather and then Manny Pacquiao to a lesser degree, but also similar, was fighting them was the title. Like a dude that gets a Canelo fight now, that's the title shot because that's the big payday. So a guy like Jericho, a guy like who else is in that over there? Even like having some rub with Sting, potentially like what they're trying to do for Darby Allin and CM Punk, that's the title right there. Like, remember when they were talking like WWE when Brock was the champion, just getting the opportunity. They were saying like just getting the opportunity for Brock was the thing that was going to put you over.
Yeah.
That didn't necessarily work out, but they sold it like it did.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really where it lies with Jericho because MJF, there's not much more you can do with this guy. Like he's already ready. He's clearly just ready. It's just, but if you're not going to put the title in him, putting him in a program with Jericho, not a bad move.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. because the title thing I only think about for the most part is two champions, and I'm thinking all of pro wrestling where the title mattered. And obviously, once again, we saw it this past Sunday as to one title. So I think because it's on a bigger scale with those two individuals, and because of the past year or so with those two individuals, the title mattered. But for the most part, everybody after that talks about the AEW title because they just like, yo, Kenny Omega has all these belts. When is he giving up the AEW title away? That's when that title was talked about for the most part. Every other title, not so much.
No.
And, you know, now more so it's just a personality about the person than more so the title and obviously their belief system, because in the past year, especially with people being in the crib, you know, which is a conversation on its own, this has really made people realize, like, all right, we got to look at these people, these workers, more than just what they are on screen, which can be, you know, a bad game to play because they don't believe in what you believe in, if it's, especially if it's right. But with Jericho, going back to him, yeah, I don't think he needs a title. Hell, he could wrestle 1-2 times a year, even though he probably wants to do more, and it's fine in this promotion. If it was WWE, I don't think so, unless you try to put somebody young over. But even then, it's like, all right, it's not necessary. And he was kind of doing that in that third run, so to speak, when he was putting Fandango over and Kevin Owens and stuff like that. But now it's just like, if you want to work every now and then, that's fine. But I like the fact that he's just like, all right, I don't need to work all the time. I could just do commentary, or I could just come cut a promo and just leave. And that's how it should be anyway, especially when you were a veteran, a vet.
True. True. I mean, they just had MJF come out and bury him in this that. And that's fine. I mean, MJF is a young guy. Like I said, my concern earlier was don't fall in love with these proven guys. That was a nice segment to reassure me that, okay, they're not falling in love with these vets too much. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, right now they got the Varsity Blondes out there. That's a surging tag team. People are really getting behind them, especially after people watched the Brian Pillman story on Dark Side of the Ring. Really getting behind his son, so it's nice. And right now we're getting, what is this? We're getting oh, that's right, we're getting the Lucha Bros and Death Triangle, I think, versus Andrade and a couple people.
Oh, word? Turn that up.
Yeah.
That's the living up beat.
Oh no, it's the tag team tournament.
Is that going on right now?
Huh?
That's what's going on right now?
Yeah. I guess hey man, if we get the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks again, I am mad at it because every match they've done so far has been fire. Luchasaurus is so weird. And oh, I forgot that was Marco Stunt next to him. I thought that was a real shot. I'm a jerk.
Yo. Nah, somebody going to tell me his age, bro.
Why does Marco Stunt be like 36 years old?
And what TV series, bro? The Lord of the Rings that's coming out on Amazon next year?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I see him, I'm just like, damn, bro, like, he lit him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all you can say.
But no. Yeah, no, okay, so we're going to get the Varsity Blondes versus Lucha Bros. That's actually kind of a fire match. I'm with this. You want to talk about SummerSlam now? Or you want to talk about the CM Punk thing first?
No, we can talk about CM Punk since we already here.
Okay, we're still on AEW. We can talk about it. Oh, here come the Bucks. Anyways, are they gonna come out in Milwaukee Bucks gear?
You about to see this? Okay, I am ahead of you.
They be coming out in these floral prints.
They actually stepped their outfits up. That ain't that bad.
No, they look like retired mobsters. I'm with it.
Right.
I'm with it. Anyway, CM Punk coming back. Hey man, that was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care how you feel about CM Punk, just to see that like actually happen was kind of crazy. And the crowd was live. I think people were talking about the sound being bad, and there was reports that they were so loud in there that they couldn't hear, like the cameraman and certain people couldn't hear the cues that people in the booth were giving them,
Yeah,
which is a wild, wild thing to tell you how loud they were. I appreciate that they did it at the very beginning because they was like, you know what, let's get this out the way because if we don't do this at the beginning, people just gonna chant CM Punk throughout the whole night, the whole
right.
hour
Which
of the
they kind
show.
of did anyway.
I mean, yeah, they did, but at least they got it out of their system for the most part at the beginning.
But
But nah, man, it was good. I mean, the promo was cool. I appreciated the promo. I think everyone expected him to like come out and bury WWE at the very beginning, and surprisingly, he did not just yet. I think he will eventually, but it was nice for him. I thought it was nice to just be like, look, pro wrestling, I'm back to pro wrestling. That's really it. So even if that guy can make a distinction between pro wrestling and sports entertainment, there's no excuse for anyone else at this point. But
yeah,
yeah,
I felt more so. It was a moment of clarity. Once again, man, this past year has just been very abnormal from the virus to just random occurrences that we have in entertainment and life in general. I could say personally for myself. So with him coming back, it's really an example in life like never say never. You never know what could happen. It's just the time because for a while I'm like, man, this dude ain't coming back. It's been 7 years.
yeah,
And then for him to come back for a company that's about 2, 3 years old at this point now, 2 years, it tells you what's going on with this company to make uh at this point he probably like a 20-year vet somewhere around that. Decided to come back. So when he came back, like it basically was confirmed for weeks that he was coming back.
yeah,
But for him to actually come back and see that pop, like that's one of the craziest pops ever. But yeah, the sound people couldn't hear the cues or anything just because it was way too loud and it was insane and people was going insane. The merch, I already said what was going to happen ahead of time. I mean, obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that, but the merch was going to sell out ASAP. Pro Wrestling Tees said it's the highest selling shirt, the fastest selling shirt in their history, and they in Chicago too, so that worked out
yeah.
perfect. And
No, I think people forget that that dude has stupid amounts of fans.
yeah, he has a coat. If you're going to keep it a bug,
Yeah,
well, it's a very much so cult following where they go where this guy goes. If he was still in WWE, they'll still be going crazy. But
yeah. Because I mean, I saw some WWE stands pretending like it wasn't that big of a deal, and I was like, look, man, if that dude would have showed up at SummerSlam, niggas would have been clowning AEW too.
right,
But one thing I did hear is, did you hear the reason he came back or chose AEW?
no, did he have a post interview about all this stuff?
I think so. I think him and Tony Khan talked, but I know I saw a shout out to, I think it was Cultaholic that reported. I saw reported this. It could have been from somewhere else, but this was the first place I saw. A shout out to Cultaholic was apparently he said once he saw, because he was thinking about just coming back to the ring, but he didn't know if he wanted to do WWE or AEW.
Mhm.
So but he said the thing that really helped him decide was when, well, I don't know if he was going into WWE, but I know he was planning, he was thinking about returning. He just didn't know if he wanted to do it or not. And once the passing of Brody Lee happened, and he saw the way AEW handled that and the way, they treated the family and respected like what he did in the short time that he was there, they he was like, yeah, that's what really sold me on it was that They seem to really care about their workers. They seem to show respect to them in a way that, sometimes you don't get respect in this business. So that really sold him and like put him over as like, okay, this is the place.
Mhm.
So like, hey man, you say this all the time. Take care of your peoples and things will go well.
Hmm. I didn't see. I need that interview. I didn't see any post interview. I haven't seen anything since it happened. So give me a minute too. I got my thoughts. I always have my thoughts together. I just take a minute so I can make sure I'm saying everything that I need to say properly.
No,
You
get your
know
big
that's a loss. That's the lost art. Today, brother. It's just people say shit and they don't think about what they just said. If you take some time to think about it without blurting it out, then you don't
hey
have to
man,
go back and apologize about it.
get your spoken word on like you big body.
That's what it is. Bench pressing the fiend 5 a.m.
When you beat me, you
106
should
Atlantis.
apologize.
Nice. A staircase warrior.
Please. I love big body.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that video. I'm like, okay, so Bed's talk is just basically about to be spoken word, like he does
Yeah,
on like the skits.
and I'm with that. And we just got a new episode of tax season today too. So
I don't know. It's just he got this trial coming up. It's like I'm gonna leave it alone until it happens. But I'm like, I hope he get out, bro. This is the perfect time for him to get back into podcasting too.
yeah, we need him out here.
If he get back into podcasting, bro, it's taking off ASAP. If that bullshit would have never happened, he definitely would have been
Yeah,
one or two, number one or two in
yeah.
hip hop
It
podcasting.
would have been had he never got in the situation that he was in, and rest in peace, if Combat Jack would have pulled through, they would have been top two.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people, got here because, unfortunately those two situations happened.
Mm-hmm.
Certain people in the hip hop podcast you wouldn't have if Tax was around and Combat went into remission. Unfortunately, those things didn't happen. Rest in peace, Combat Jack again.
All the time, absolutely.
But
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, going back to what he said. So I can't tell with him in particular if it's entitlement or he just hates everything about WWE, but meanwhile he was getting paychecks. So cut to everybody's man, R-Truth. R-Truth doesn't have anything bad to say about anybody. Everybody has said that, even John Cena. So I saw a TikTok comment that R-Truth said about CM Punk. I could read it right now, but he basically says, you got mad when me and Miz went over. It's not everybody else, it's just you, dog. That's basically what he said in a sense. And he said entitlement. When I read that, I told people immediately, that's not a work from R-Truth, because R-Truth, he doesn't, if he's talking about somebody, there's probably a shoot because he's never talking about anybody.
No.
And he's loved by everybody. So with Punk, I absolutely believe that because I've been saying that for about a year or so now about him and how he went to Fox and he got a check, but then he was saying basically fuck WWE, but still it's WWE that you're working for, even though Fox assigned the checks. I would think in that situation. So with him,
Yeah.
it's just like, dude, like now I understand. You know what I mean? But I get it. It's just because of how WWE handled the Brody Lee situation, and we've all said that. But with him, I felt like he actually used that even more to say, I just don't want to deal with them. And with me at this point, you don't even need to worry about them. That's why I'm glad he didn't really, because I was waiting for the bullshit last Friday. I was waiting for him to cut a shoot promo about WWE and all that. And at that point, I was just going to try to chop it up like, bro, come on, man. Like, at this point, let that hurt go, big fella. Like, it's been 7 years, man. Let that hurt go. You and, a company that's very much revered more than WWE at this point, even though, WWE is going to be WWE no matter what happens. But you at a point now where pro wrestling fans and marks, we watch this. not for entertainment, but for wrestling. So you going to AEW, we know what you were going for. You were going for wrestling. You wasn't going for the entertainment, and that's fine. You can cut your promo like everybody else, and then it's like, all right, cool, now I can wrestle. It's not all the semantics that come with WWE, which is fine, and that's why I enjoy it because I don't really care too much about the entertainment when it comes to pro wrestling. I just like pro wrestling. Like I watch indie shows. Like I was watching, I forgot the name of the promotion yesterday. They had one this past weekend, and it's an insane amount of things that happened this past weekend. I got to go watch GCW and ROH as well. But
Yeah.
if you just want pro wrestling, it's ways beyond just WWE, and we've learned that this past year alone. So with him, he went to the company and he said, "All right, I'm gonna start wrestling younger talent." He then called out Darby Allin. I was like, "All right, bet." Damn, this all my card look fire. I ain't gonna hold with you,
Yeah.
but yeah, we definitely gonna have to do a. When is the fifth? Next week or week after next?
Uh, Not
Next
this
week.
coming weekend. The weekend after.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So we definitely gonna have to do a prediction show for that. But going back to what I'm saying, I won't take up too much time. It's just the point of now you're in a situation where you really don't have to say anything, bro. Like let that hate go. Like for him to say that, it's kind of still like, all right, man. You kind of just throwing stuff on them, even if that's true. But sometimes if things are true, you have to point out that it is true, and it's nonsensical as to what they do. But we said that in December when all this happened about how they handle that situation and keep it going because it's WWE. You know how they run. When you sign your contract over there, you already know what the business is.
Yeah.
So I feel like he didn't really need to say that. I understand, but it's right about the quote, and I don't like saying that I'm right or my quotes are right, whatever the case may be. But you're absolutely right in that sense where no matter where you at, you take care of your people to begin with. Like you know what I mean with WWE. Hopefully they're doing something for Brody Lee's family because at this point that we are in this world, man, everybody need help from somewhere, especially
Yeah.
if you a pro wrestler. Because with AEW, it's not independent, but if your workers got to go find work somewhere else, it's not a lot of money because a lot of these workers still go work for other promotions. So it's like, all right, they still not making a significant amount of money, and everybody needs to get paid. But I think with them, they prefer to do that, you know. And then we'll get to the Adam Cole situation as well. I don't know if we'll get to it here, but I feel like we should just because Friday is coming and his contract was projected to be up Friday. But if you have anything else to say about CM Punk, we can continue, but it's up to you.
No, the only thing I'll say about CM Punk is, not to get too heavy, even though we here, like I ain't tripping. But the one thing about CM Punk taking shots at WWE, and this is something about that's different from everyone else. When people say, "Man, you still talking?" The difference between CM Punk and everyone else is he left WWE. They didn't leave him. He left them because when he walked away, they still had plans for him. They was gonna give him a Triple H rivalry at WrestleMania, which he didn't want. And to be honest, at the time when he said I'm bigger than that, he was absolutely right. But that was a company that still had big plans for him. They still had ideas for him, like, okay, we can do some things with you. We can make some stuff work with you. The other thing when it comes to him talking about, when people come to talk about this and that, it's like, yo, man, we all listen to rap music. Rappers being beefed from years ago, and they still be talking about it
Uh-huh.
years ago. And if the bar is fire, the bar, we don't sit there and just be like, oh, well, oh my God, you're still talking about, like, we only do that with the game now. And that's just because the game will be like, oh, forget this person, they cool. Nah, actually forget them.
Hmm.
But for other rappers we love. Rappers critically acclaimed, rappers that's Grammy nominated, rappers that, make records that we love. We consider some of the best of last decade. They in some forever beef, and they put it on their records.
Mhm.
So you know, I ain't tripping on him taking shots at WWE. WWE can sustain. They'll be all right. They'll survive. They're not gonna. It's no damage in the armor of WWE. So you know,
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. The machine goes.
yeah,
The great, full of class, the GOAT, John Cena even said that recently. Or he said that on Deez and Mero in 2017. He said that in 2017 when he was still good. And he really started getting to acting. He basically said at that point, like, the machine is gonna go with or without me. That's everything, particularly in life, and that's how things go. Like you don't. It takes a certain type of person, even as great as they are, to be like, y'all don't really need to hear me. Y'all don't need to really be, what I mean. I don't really need to do anything because it's gonna go without me.
absolutely.
It's a clarification thing that you have as you get older, particularly. So with him, he said that. So the machine of WWE, you know, after Roman Reigns goes, after whoever goes, Bianca, etc., years from now, hopefully, it'll be somebody else. And
Yeah,
that's how it works, particularly in entertainment, especially. Your regular 9 to 5 job, not yours specifically, but people, the machine is going to keep going. If you decided, now this is about you specifically, if you decide to leave tomorrow, they'll find somebody.
yeah.
It's
No,
how
it's
things work.
yeah, it's look, man, everything is gonna come to an end, and everything like the rest of the world is just gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be okay with that. Cena seems to be at peace with it. A few other wrestlers that seem to be at peace with it. Just you got to find a way to make it peace. And sometimes it takes people a little bit of time to make their peace with it. Some people get bitter. Some people, whatever. Like we see ex athletes who commentate on the sports they used to play all the time sound bitter and talk about how it was in their era and how they hate the current era of the sport. Like we see it all the time. They just bitter. They haven't let it go. Once they let it go, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. It just takes some people
Absolutely.
longer than others.
Absolutely. And then, that's the main thing with Punk. It's just like you gotta let that hurt go. Like that's what I'm saying. It's just like after doing something for 7 years, you coming from indie scene. Like you probably started a revolution of indie workers, then coming you and Daniel Bryan, who is rumored to come to AEW as well as Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
If you come from the indies and then you come to like you come to there's nowhere up after a WWE, I should say, I'm sorry. It's just like, dude, you made it. You accomplished everything and then some to come from like literally I watched a match from I want to say '01, '02, somewhere around that between Punk and Austin Aries in like a high school gym. And I think it was in Milwaukee if I'm not mistaken.
And look at where both of them are right now.
Hmm.
Hmm.
More so than others, but
Yeah.
the other one, he screwed
Damn,
himself
homie.
up. High school, you was the man, or the high
Yeah,
school gym, you was the man,
man,
homie.
homie. Fuck happened to
Because
you?
I think at that point he was a little bit more experienced than Punk, if I'm not mistaken. But I could look it up. But
Yeah. But
it
nah,
goes. Go
it's
ahead.
this is one of them things, man, where it's just yeah, I mean we could sit here is that, but it's like if you in WWE, you bag the baddest bitch. It's really that simple. Like you got the prettiest girl in school, you got the prettiest dude in school, you got the most popular, you know, you dating a cute cheerleader, the head quarterback, whatever you want analogy you want to use, you know, you got the girl on King magazine, whatever. That's what you got when you in WWE. I think the thing some people learn is it might be a little bit more to this than that sometimes, or it's not everything it seems. And some people that environment is they can find a way to navigate it. Some people can't. It's kind of like the music or the film industry. When you look at a guy like what you call it? When you look at a guy like Freddie Gibbs was someone we thought that was gonna take the industry by storm. You know, he signed with Jeezy and this and that, and it didn't take off. You know, nobody was trying to hear the music, this and that. So he had to go back indie. He saw the vision. He kept grinding. He kept working. Now look where he is. He's an indie rap darling. He's still not like doing the numbers that some of these other big name dudes are, but he has a following. He has a fan base. He has a stable. You know, like he knows how much he's gonna sell. He knows what he can sell in venues. And there's bigger name artists who are just like quietly trying to work with him. So I think it's similar to that, where it's just like, hey man, not everybody needs the major label deal. Not everybody needs to be there to do their best work. So we'll see how it goes. But no,
Absolutely.
let's move on to SummerSlam because hey man, SummerSlam might be the funniest show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like from Woods showing up and doing the Razor Ramon water gun thing to Bobby Lashley just messing up Goldberg's son, and the whole internet was just like, yeah, fuck his son up. Fuck them kids. All of this
Mm-hmm.
is hilarious. To Brock coming back and just like being in the best shape ever, and Paul Heyman just looking like an ex girl that's just like, oh yeah, yeah, my man. Like it was baby boy. It was a real baby boy that happened. Like, you know, Brock Lesnar came back like Snoop Dogg, just getting out of jail, and that makes Roman Reigns Tyrese. Can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that? Look at that. Said all that trash, talked all that trash about The Rock, and now his cousin is him.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that funny how life works?
Absolutely. All the
Yeah.
time.
Uh, but nah. Before we get into too much, so what did you think about SummerSlam?
I thought so. The main event was great. Obviously, you got arguably the greatest of all time being John Cena there, and then the best thing in pro wrestling overall in the match. I loved everything about that match. I didn't like the finish, but that's not to take away anything from the match. It's just the finish is the finish. Everybody doesn't need a near fall or 20 spears like I thought would happen, and that probably would have took away from the match. But I think it was great overall. Everything else, you know, we got entertainment definitely from that Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg match because Goldberg got his knee cracked and then Gage got choked out. So I know he definitely was in the Call of Duty room saying words. That shit was hilarious because I was doing a live stream. Shouts out to Show Your Work, and I was just like, yo, I was like, choke his ass out.
Oh,
Like, you know what I
kick
mean?
his
It,
ass.
it, it was really like I can imagine just people, what I mean, the environment we coming from watching that shit like it's a boxing match. Beat his ass. So Willa Miller said, beat that nigga ass. Beat that nigga ass. So I like that. Everything else was cool. The triple threat match, the women's triple threat match was entertaining. I like that. Uh Now this is where confliction comes in. I'm probably going to have to talk about this for a while now. So
I'm laughing
I'm not
at the
going to
Hell
use it.
Games. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good because I'm thinking about where should I start with this. Because all right, let me start with before I get to my thought process. Everybody knows how I feel about Becky Lynch. I don't think she's entertaining at all. I've never been a fan. The only match I've ever actually enjoyed by her was the Charlotte Flair match at the Women's Evolution pay per view. and maybe that triple threat from WrestleMania with her and Ronda Rousey. That's about it. But overall, the man gimmick, I never liked none of that. So, but this isn't particularly about her. Once again, I think it's an end game to this just because she's very critiqued with her social media ways and what she said earlier about the heel show with Stephen Amell that's out now. So I was like, okay, I guess that's where they're going with it. But more so, I don't understand Sasha Banks, bro. You feel me? Like, dog, I've been saying this for years about her, bro. It's just like I don't think this time maybe she was throwing a fit, but she showed before, like when shit don't go her way, she like, all right, I'm out of here. I swear on everything I love. I've been saying this for years about her. One of the greatest workers of all time, without question. I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about men as well. Probably one of the top 5 best workers out right now. But with her, it's just, dude, like, I don't fucking get it. Like, yo, if it's not. So the thing is, I was having a conversation earlier with somebody. And I was like, all right, so we debated about what exactly is going on because nobody knows exactly. She was out the night before partying. You know what I mean? Of course, it's going to be without a mask. And based on her views from what we've seen on social media, she don't care about the mask. She don't care about the shot, which maybe is the reasoning for all this because she hasn't been there for the past couple of weeks. So I'm like, okay, at this point, it's about that because she hasn't been there in the past couple of weeks. But then when you do shit like this, my mind also goes, is it because you didn't want to do the job? Regardless, we got to Sunday. People saw her early in the day, just chilling at the hotel. This is where we live at, folks. But this has been happening for years. But we got to the match, and a lot of shooting was going on. Obviously, you could tell by facial expressions that none of this was planned. They can work. They can act. They're not that good of actors like this. There's some Oscar-worthy shit that they was doing on camera. And that's why it was a lot of camera cuts, too. If you see Carmella face, she was like, what the fuck? If you see Bianca, everything Bianca was saying, how she was looking, was real. That wasn't a work because when they did a house show that she was at the next day, because she does house shows and she shows up to work, she cut a promo basically saying the same thing that she said in a post conference about the match or the post show, whatever they had out at a party or something. So, you know, I don't
even see what she said.
Being professional like always. You already know how she is. Extremely professional. Just like, yeah, you know, things didn't go the way I thought it would go. I thought the match would happen. But, you know, it just circumstances of how things are in the business. Extreme professional. You know she ain't going to go out here and just say what old girl did. She's not going to do that. Just because that's not how she seemed like she was raised properly, number one. Raised very properly. And number two, she's just professional. And she's older, too. She our age. People forget. Just because she look young, she our age. Even though we are young, she's our age still. So it's a combination of all those things. So once again, good job to her parents for raising her properly. I say that often because we don't have too many people like that with class these days anyway, let alone in professional wrestling. So I'm kind of long with it here, but y'all gotta bear with me just because I got a lot of thoughts still, and it's almost been a damn week.
No, go ahead and cook.
It's just if you did do the job, it's like, dude, that's extremely unprofessional. Like we just talked about John Cena, one of the most classful people ever, who didn't need to do the job when needed. Didn't need to put people over, and he did it. If it's about that, I won't get too passionate about it because we don't know. I'm starting to think it's the first thing because she hasn't been on the road in about 2 weeks. I don't think she's on the road now. We've seen what she said in the past couple of months. Well, what she hasn't said, but what the things she's like, because social media is the devil, and then she can't stay low. Just don't like nothing. Just have those beliefs and stay low. So, you know, everybody was calling her, I forgot the nickname, QAnon Banks or something like that. But It's just,
QAnon Banks is funny.
that might be the title of the episode, but then we gotta say not me, QAnon Banks, and then in quotations, not this Banks.
Not this Banks.
But because
QAnon Shasta.
yeah, because I could be. Come on, bro. Ain't no way I could join that shit. But you know, if it's about being vaxxed up, all right. Me and you, right?
Yeah.
We make money using our hands, as she does as well. But with us, people would say it's less of a job, but a job is a job, and a job pays your bills, and we not out here robbing folks. So, you know, I think we should be respected in that sense. And then with me, I respect everybody, especially if you mop floors, I respect you even more because I wouldn't do it. If you do trash, I respect you. I respect everybody that has some type of job that's not out here trying to rob people. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we got backed up for many reasons, not just for our health, for others. This guy that's behind CM Punk right now, who put his sign down, by the way, after Chris Jericho left, but he shows it every now and then just to give people reminders. One of the few people here with a mask too, by the way, but it's Milwaukee. Hell, if I lived in Milwaukee, I would probably not wear a mask either because that's how they raised in Milwaukee. I'll just leave it at that. Don't go to Milwaukee, people. But this guy here probably has responsibility in his life to say that. Or he just like, yo, I don't want to get people sick. Me and you, we got the shot literally because we don't want to get people sick. Not just us. I got it because I didn't want to get people sick. And I wasn't anti-vax. I just said I didn't want to get it. But the government started saying, hey, bro, if you ain't got this card, you can't do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be working at places where you got to be vaxxed up or else you can't get in. I don't know about the workers, but probably so. I go to the gym. I love the gym. They about to start checking cards. I'm going to go ahead and get the shot. I travel. Got to get the shot. Now, let me talk about this woman. If it is the case, speculation, if it is the case that she is doing this because she didn't get the shot and then we got this, I'm going to take up a lot of time. I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize. Yeah, but I'm going to try to defer back a little bit. I'm going to cut the promo down a little bit because I don't want to take up all the time. I ain't the goddamn star here. But my thoughts have been going as I've been able to process them since Saturday. Yo, you probably are making the most money out of all women's workers. You might end up going down in history as the woman's worker that made the most money ever. And that China, God rest her soul, end up being second in that particular category, probably. You can't get a shot because of your so-called belief system. And like I keep saying about this shit, yo, everybody became a scientist in the past year. Everybody became a scientist in the past year. It's a microchip, it's this, it's that. Yo, bro, I'm not against anybody that doesn't want to get the shot. Let me be clear about that. I've been saying that for a year now. I'm not against anybody that doesn't want to get the shot. You live your life according to how you want to live your life. I don't give a fuck how people live their life as long as they not harming kids, older people, or people just in general. Do not fuck with kids, then you got a problem with me personally. Leave women alone too. You making money, you should get the shot. You have people that you work with, you should get the shot. You around thousands of people, you should get the shot. So it can help you. Don't give me that bullshit about, oh, it's because, people still get sick with the shot. It's to help you not fucking die. So if it is about the shot, you being irresponsible. If you did this because you didn't want a job, you're just unprofessional. As much as you talk about you care about the wrestling business, you must don't. Either way. Now, I'm going to end it on this note. As far as my thought process. So I said what I said about Becky Lynch. All right. Y'all got to stop blaming every motherfucking thing on Vince McMahon, bro. Like Vince, I don't understand how people just put every single thing on Vince. Was this a Vince McMahon call? Yeah, because it's like, yo, what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put on Carmella, so y'all could blame me more. Imagine if they would have let Carmella go over. People still gonna be mad. Am I right?
Hey, yo, I wouldn't have been mad if Carmella went over because I thought Sasha was going over. To be honest with you.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's interesting because I would have said Sasha, but after all these reports, because these reports have been coming out for a while now, because she's really been at home, I said, all right, I think Bianca is going over. But that's what I'm saying. It's not helping her either way. If she being anti-vax, it's not helping her. If she didn't want to do the job, it's even making her look worse. So either way, it's not helping her. Now, if Carmella would have went over, I ain't mad. Is Carmella a less worker than Becky Lynch? Yes. But if Carmella wins, I ain't mad. So now I'm being lustful. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's when my immaturity comes into play and not a business standpoint. So imagine a man who's a multi-billionaire who doesn't run, he runs the business, but everybody acts like he does everything. They think he makes the fucking popcorn. They think he dunking the ball, he in the three-point contest. They treat him like Dame Leonard at that one All-Star game. Like, yo, he does everything. Like, yo, I'm not like we saw that earlier this year with the Mickey James incident. Like, my stuff was thrown in the trash can. Oh, it's Vince's fault. How? She didn't say that, but people online were saying, like, bro, I can't oversee everything. That's why you hire people. When you're a billionaire, you're not supposed to fucking do everything. Kanye out in fucking Soldier Field in Chicago, where he's from, building a whole ass house for his third listening party. He ain't building the goddamn house by himself. You can't do everything by yourself. That's not how life fucking works. So if I'm him, the Becky Lynch thing, you got to do it. Because what else I'm going to do, bro? Y'all going to let AEW up me after they sign somebody that was just mad, that's still mad at me? One of the biggest signees in WWE history and the biggest signing to date in AEW history. I got to go. Hey, bro, I got to go for it. She's been gone for a year now. I was going to bring her back eventually, very soon. Why not bring her now? She probably was going to come back at the end of the show, if we want to be clear. After Bianca went over, if she were to go over, which probably was going to happen. So it's like, yo, I got to do something to begin with. Now, to finish, to the match, it was a job. She probably just got there that morning. If we want to be clear, or late at night, if you want to keep it a buck, she probably just got there. Obviously, they didn't know what the fuck was going on by her response. Once again, Bianca was very surprised by everything. She was like, oh shit, I got a job. Yeah, you probably have the job at this moment because a decision was made very drastically. It'll never come out about what happened. Well, it'll probably come out, but it'll be a while from now about all of this. But nobody knew this was going to happen. And then when it happened, she got a huge pop. Then when the Brock Lesnar thing happened, they got a huge pop. And I didn't even talk about that because I really want to talk about this more because, well, I'll talk about the Brock thing after I let you get your piece off because, like I said, I'm taking up too much time and I apologize. But it's just like, yo, like, I hated the finish. I hated that Bianca had a job to her. But, bro, y'all can't blame everything on Vince. There was a goofy on there. I don't even need to say his name because he's blocked. He said Vince hates black excellence. Yo, me and you talked about this, right?
Yep.
These companies, AEW, these companies don't care about us. Michael Jackson, like, your bro. They don't care, bro. Like, I don't know. Other than Ricky Starks in AEW, who else has been a black champion in AEW?
Scorpio Sky and Nyla Rose. Yeah.
Okay, so 2.5 have been champion in AEW.
Yeah. Shout out to my son, Ricky Starks, though.
Yeah, shouts out to our son, my cousin, I should say. But with WWE in the past year, what have we gotten? More minorities than ever. You know why? Because it's the perfect time. Mm-hmm. It's business. It's the same thing we see in Hollywood. Yo, y'all so mad at Vince. Go look at Hollywood. They doing it worse. They booking us worse in Hollywood. Other than a select few, if you look at Hollywood, like, yo, look at the type of shows people was in, yo.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is the shine? And that's her own, and she booking them that way. So I'm like, yo, you can't put everything on Vince. I'm not a Vince McMahon stan. I'm not none of that. Obviously, I ain't getting no fucking check from no WWE. And if I was, I'd probably say the same thing. Because I love money, but that shit don't run my life. So it's just like, dude, like you can't just say anything because you're in the heat of a moment. I'm talking about that Goofy in particular. Because he contradicted his whole self throughout the whole show. I said, all right, bro, I had enough. Because you don't, that's another thing too. People don't watch wrestling, bro.
No.
People, like, we've been watching wrestling long enough where we can see a job about to happen. Or we can call a finish or go home. Me and you was at the New Japan show, and we're like, all right, here's the go home. Y'all just don't watch wrestling, bro. My fault. Go ahead.
No. Promo, big promo right there. Big promo. So where do I begin? All right, when it comes to Sasha, I honestly don't know. Like you said, it could be if she didn't want to get the shot. That would be interesting because I'm almost assuming there are other people who have said they don't want the shot or have alluded to things of not getting the shot. Like we've seen Nia Jax post stuff. I think Tamina has posted stuff. Uh, you know, there's certain. I'm certain there's been male wrestlers who are not big fans of the shot or whatever. And like honestly, at this point, that mentality for the most part is worn out. Like the country ain't shutting down no more. We're not going back to this and that. Like everybody in position of power, government is putting forth the we're just gonna have to live with it agenda now because once we got the shot, we were never slowing down again. It don't matter. We had 150,000 cases a day. Like that's where we were in November of last year. At our peak, we are 50% away from our peak moment, which was like 300,000 cases a day. The number of cases we have now is about the same as we had in August of last year. So the mandates are coming out, things like that. Cool. No issue with it. I hope most people get the shot. I hope everyone who can get the shot gets the shot because whatever. When it comes to Sasha, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there was a breakdown in communication. She didn't like the work. She didn't. Or maybe Becky coming out. She didn't want to be overshadowed. I don't know. I can't pretend to know. Maybe she got some upcoming film projects, TV projects coming up, and she didn't want to risk injury. I personally don't know. I wish her the best. Whatever. Not even really tripping at this moment because that mentality has been going on for a year and a half now. What else am I supposed to do with it? What are like if you just want to whatever the mentality is. But if she didn't want to do business with someone, that's not uncommon. We see that happen in the industry a lot. Whether whatever. Honestly, it just I don't care. Now, when we get to the actual match, I have to take a sip of water. It's big promo time. Big promo time. Uh, every time I see Dolph Ziggler's cousin, I'm just like, man, you guys have matching tans. Anyways, yeah, Ryan
That's
Nemeth.
his cousin?
Yeah, that's his cousin.
Really?
White people have cousins sometimes. Uh,
Exactly. They
nah,
just don't hang
actually, I
out.
think I actually like his cousin. That might be his like little favorite cousin. So I wonder if Thanksgiving they go around the corner to the store. But anyways, now when it came to the match, all right, I've told you this off air. I think I've been telling you this for like the past year. When it comes to this whole diversity representation thing, early on I told you, like it's probably a few episodes, like 10 episodes ago on this show, I said, you have to make sure you're not doing diversity just for the sake of diversity, because you can just pick anybody. Like, if you want representation, this and that, like, that's a really low bar considering that, hey, if number 51 got signed by WWE and became a champion, that's representation. You ain't gonna like it. That's representation. You know, if certain people throughout the world who are black that we just don't line up with their views, we don't really like them that much. Like, yo, we out here in California, we about to have a governor's recall. Old dude Larry Elder, who went to Crenshaw High School, he out here running Republican, talking about he don't want no vaccine mandate, no mask mandate. He want to take the minimum wage to zero. Like, he trying to be governor of Florida so bad in California. That's what that dude want. If he wins, that would be representation. It would not be the representation you want, but it would be representation and diversity. You say something all the time. And I have this feeling about Vince McMahon. You had this feeling about Silk Sonic. So, what does Vince McMahon do all the time?
Hypothetical question? Okay. I'm about to say, yeah.
Nah, he trick y'all. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is confusing to me. Like when I saw what happened when Becky came out, I was shocked. I was excited. I was like, yo, I was happy to see her back. Because my feelings about Becky has always been she has enough ring capability where she just needs the character. Because we've seen other wrestlers in WWE. It's no shot at Becky. I'm just talking about other wrestlers in WWE who are not great in the ring. They're not very good in the ring. The person they're with has to do a lot of heavy lifting, and that's what ends up making them look good. However, the character work is excellent. And it's the character work that gets them to where they need to be. There's some people that have been champion. There's some people that get regular TV time in WWE right now solely based off character work.
I just named one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's people who get like solely based off character work. And that's fine. I'm not really here to trip or judge any there's no indictment. That's part of the business. That's part of what gets you over. If you connecting with the crowd, you deserve to be on TV. You deserve to be out there in front of the people. Now, so one of the things I saw when it came to Becky and Sasha was, how could they do that? How could they do that to Bianca? Does anyone remember how when SmackDown premiered on Fox, how that ended?
Mm-hmm.
What was the main event of that? You remember?
Yeah, because I was there. Brock Lesnar versus Kofi.
Brock Lesnar versus Kofi for the WWE title. How long did that match go?
2 seconds. Or 3 seconds.
How many hits did Kofi get on Brock Lesnar?
He jumped up, F5, go home.
So, it's not about whether Bianca deserved that or not, because I don't think she did. It's just when you say, how could they do that?
Wait, in what way you don't think she? I'm sorry. You saying she didn't deserve that finish?
No, she didn't deserve to finish. Like, win or loss, that's not really. There's nothing much I can really say about that. But the way that went, yeah, I didn't agree with that. But to say could they do this? Do you remember how Daniel Bryan lost the title to Sheamus? He got a bro kick. It's at WrestleMania. He got a bro kick and lost. He lost in 7 seconds. Do you remember how AJ Lee lost the title to Nikki Bella? It was essentially a forearm, and she lost.
Mm-hmm.
These less than 10-second matches. We gotta stop pretending like WWE doesn't do this. They do this all the time. Well, not all the time, but so that's. But they've done this, and they've done this within the last decade.
And I'll say this too, not to cut you off real quick, because I did talk a long ass time. It seems to be they do it with their favorites.
Yeah.
Who aren't favorites to others.
Well, you got to think about it. Sheamus is very well loved. Got to do it to Daniel Bryan, someone that the people love, that the business side don't have the same love as the fans do. It's the same interaction when it comes to Nikki Bella and AJ Lee. The same interaction when it comes to Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston. Now Bianca and Becky is different because the love and appreciation from both the fans and on the backstage side is equal. Not in terms of popularity, this and that, because Becky got that. Becky got the love. Becky got the respect. She put in the time. She put in the work. She resurrected her career in a way that most people didn't think she was going to do. So, Becky got it. Like, we can literally sit here. At one point, she was the hottest thing in wrestling for like a year. It's very hard to be a women's wrestler and be the hottest thing in WWE for that long.
Yeah, her merch was moving more than Roman Reigns at that point, right? And John
It
Cena.
was moving more than Roman Reigns, John Cena, the New Day, the Usos, Rusev, all of them paling in comparison to her. And Rousey was right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, how could they do it? It's happened before. It's happened several times within the last decade. At big shows, big events. I believe the AJ Nikki one was WrestleMania. The Sheamus Daniel Bryan one was WrestleMania. Kofi versus Brock was the big Fox deal. They brought The Rock back at the beginning of the show. Like, it was the big fight field. They put Brock Lesnar on regular television. At the end of it, they bring out Cain Velasquez. This was a big deal. SummerSlam, biggest party of the year. Big deal. So they've done this before. Now, so they've done it. Now, another example I'd like to bring to everybody that nobody really seemed to really see was Apollo Crews. Where did Apollo Crews win the Intercontinental title? At WrestleMania. Against who? Big E. The now Money in the Bank contract holder. So there's big plans for Big E. They let Apollo Crews win. Apollo Crews lost the title 2 weeks ago on SmackDown to Shinsuke Nakamura. Apollo Crews never had a pay-per-view event match in his whole Intercontinental title run. At all. Like, not once. Go through it and check me if I'm wrong. They were all televised. And that's fine, because he's a great wrestler, this and that. But, didn't Sheamus have at least 2 U.S. title matches on pay-per-view events?
Mm-hmm.
Hell, NXT was able to get $1 million title match on 3. On 3 of their special shows. So this is where confusion is coming in this is why I stayed out of the diversity argument. This is why I stayed out of a lot of this, because 2 weeks ago, everybody was saying WWE, but it's essentially WWE loves black people because they gave black people championships. And shout out to Queen K, because she's the only person really that I agreed with on this. And this was my stance even before people was talking about this. It's like, yo, this is marketing.
Mm-hmm.
This is marketing. So what happened between Becky Lynch and Bianca? Unfortunately, it was marketing.
Absolutely.
That shouldn't have happened to Bianca. She should at least be able to have a decent match and lose the match. Well, another reason why the diversity thing becomes a hilarious thing. Do you know who they had if Becky Lynch didn't pick up the phone?
Carmella.
No. It wasn't going to be Carmella. Had Becky Lynch said, nah, I can't do it, I'm not ready, or whatever reason, they would have went with Bianca Belair defending her title at SummerSlam against Naomi. The person we've several times had the trend on Twitter, give Naomi a chance. Give Naomi a chance. Give Naomi a chance. Naomi always have to put over these blonde white girls or these really tan white girls or what have you. That's been her position for like the past few months or years now. She had to do the business for Bailey. Okay, Bailey was the hottest thing, not tripping. She had to do a program with Lacey Evans to try and get Lacey Evans over. Nobody really liked Lacey Evans like that. But whatever. We got what's her name? Booker T out there, saying that, oh, she needs to work harder when the fans are clearly on her side. She's already over.
Right. She's already Hall of Famer when he said that too.
Yeah. The 2020 Royal Rumble, the big pop. Like I said, after Edge, that was the biggest pop of the night.
Mhm.
So, the 2021 Royal Rumble, they have her with Bianca anchoring most of the match. So here we are. We was talking about diversity. We was talking about this and that. We was saying AEW doesn't give black people an opportunity. They don't this and this and that. You guys were clamoring for Naomi, and Bianca won the title, and you guys just forgot about Naomi. You forgot about the assignment. It was to try and get Naomi over. It was to get her used on television properly. She's been on SmackDown for like a month now. She hasn't been on TV. When her husband got the DUI, fans blamed her.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we sitting here pretending like WWE cares about black people?
Because that's what
I,
everybody. My
yeah.
fault. Go ahead.
Because by the end of the night, look, when everyone started this against AEW, let's run it down. Omos was a co-tag team champion with AJ Styles. Swerve was the NXT UK North American champion. Apollo Crews was the IC champion. Bobby Lashley was the world champion. Bianca Belair was the women's champion. In one night, actually 2 weeks, but in one night after SummerSlam, the only two black champions in the bit, well, no, that's not true. MSK. So between MSK, Swerve, and Lashley, you lost 50% of your champions in 2 weeks. One of which never got a pay-per-view match. One of which got squashed in a marketing campaign, because that's what Becky Lynch is. She's a big star. It's no, like, she's going to come back. If she works, she's going to work. She's going to be fine. It's no shade on her. But you got to call it what it is. One of them lost to Riddle and Randy Orton. Randy Orton, the legend, but we know Riddle's stories. We heard the woman that spoke up about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we haven't done anything with Big E since he won the Money in the Bank comps. It feel like we almost forgot that he got the Money in the Bank belt, briefcase.
Even though Baron Corbin ran after Plug twice with it.
Yeah, he got it back on the pre-show, but we haven't had a program for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the dude that was looking like we're going to make the next champion. We should probably start doing something with that dude. It doesn't have to be a title match right away. You don't have to cash in right away. But you need something going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the old Black Excellence photo?
Absolutely.
When it was the New
That was
Day.
taken down ASAP.
Yeah, Sasha Banks, Rich Swann.
Hmm.
I forget if it was someone else in there too.
It was that was. I think Apollo was on it.
I don't know if he had won the title yet. It might have been R-Truth with the 24/7, or he had the U.S. title at the time, or something like that.
No, it was just all them. So it was New Day, Sasha, and Rich Swann. I don't think it was nobody else.
Yeah,
I could look it up, but I don't think it was nobody else.
Someone pointed this out. You know what happened the next week? It was a pay-per-view event. They all lost.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. Now, I mean, I guess you can credit WWE for doing it, but hey, man, if they're the ones that's over, they should be winning belts. So it's not like they're doing us a favor. So I'm not about to credit them for doing it. Like, oh well, at least they did it. Nah, that make it sound like they were only doing it because we wanted it, not because those wrestlers deserved it. Bianca deserved her title. Omos deserved his title. Apollo deserved his title. Swerve deserves his title. Wesley from my man I call Athletic V Diggs, he deserves half the tag team titles with MSK. Bobby Lashley deserved to be champion.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got like it's really just where do we stand? Because if we're gonna keep talking in narratives at this point when it comes to these type of things, this is why I check out of the conversations. Like I just be checking out of the conversations. I just be letting it play. Like okay, it's cool, whatever. You guys just gotta understand that this is marketing. I ain't insulting nobody. Hopefully we just learn from this that yo, okay, they got us. Got us. Because as fast as it was to give it, the quicker it got taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not mad. Like I said, Becky a Hall of Famer. Ain't no shame in losing to a Hall of Famer. Shinsuke a Hall of Famer in 2 different wrestling leagues. Ain't no shame in that.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton, one of the greatest ever. No shame. Just pump the brakes next time when we get to the Black Excellence talk. Because ain't nothing wrong with celebrating our black champions. There is something wrong with celebrating the company. Anyways, Samoa Joe won the NXT title. Everyone was laughing because everyone was like, yo, man, Karrion Kross is done. It's over. It's a wrap. And what did he do? He showed up like a sex slave in Mass Effect on Raw and squashed Ricochet.
And on that note, we out.
Good night, everybody.
He said, Cap. The fuck is going on?